Hello and welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us today for this gathering and this opportunity to learn among US residents and citizens, as well as perhaps some other concerned friends from other parts of the world, as we address the issue of illegal arms moving from the United States to Haiti. I welcome you all to this webinar on behalf of our four initial organizers of this effort, which include the Justice Coalition of Religious and its network of the United States, of which I am the coordinator, and my name is Teresa Blumenstein, and have been working with the other initial coordinators or sponsors of this action, which includes Kim Lamberty of the Quixote Center, Angela Howard McParland of the Sisters of Mercy of the Americas, as a member of Nuns Against Gun Violence, and Dawn Colapietro, who is a Seton Associate with the Sisters of Charity of St. Elizabeth. But these are not the only organizers involved in today's session and the actions that will follow. And so here we have all 35 of the co-sponsors of this effort, whose participation is an important component of this broad effort that stretches right across the United States. I invite you all to use the chat box to introduce yourselves and your affiliations if you wish to say where you are joining us from and which group you are a part of or connected with, so that we can all know who is in the room with us. And when we look at all of these co-sponsors, we acknowledge that most of you have probably joined this meeting because you already have some degree of awareness that our sisters and brothers in Haiti are living through some of the most devastating and destabilized times that the country has ever seen. And we're gathered today as a broad coalition of concerned citizens and residents of the United States, because we recognize that the policies and practices of our government are playing a significant role in fueling the gang violence that is being experienced by children, women, and men on a daily basis in Haiti. So today we will learn more about this systemic failure of the United States to be a good neighbor to our kin in Haiti and throughout the region. We will do so with the help of two individuals with expertise, both in the current situation in Haiti, as well as in actions that can be taken within the United States to reduce harm and suffering in Haiti. Afterward, we will outline a plan for specific actions that this group will take together in the next few months to bring about an end to the illegal shipment of weapons and ammunition from the United States to Haiti. So without further ado, I will turn the floor over to Dawn Colapietro to introduce our first speaker, and will remind all speakers today that in recognition of the work of our excellent interpreters, please remember to speak slowly and clearly. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa, and I join you in welcoming the 437 people who registered for this Zoom. Greetings to all of you. It's wonderful to have you be a support to this important effort. And I have the distinct pleasure to introduce William O'Neill. He's an attorney who has specialized in humanitarian, human rights, and refugee law throughout his career. Bill is currently the United Nations expert on human rights in Haiti. Before that, he served as a senior advisor on human rights for the UN's mission in Kosovo, chief of the UN Human Rights Field Operations in Rwanda, and was at one time the head of the legal department of the UN's mission in Haiti, where he lived for several years. Bill has served our world and our Haitian brothers and sisters with honor and distinction throughout much of his life. In his current position at the United Nations, he has met with leadership in the Haiti government, the U.S. State Department, U.S. Congress, and also with leaders from other countries around the world, as well as members of the Kenyan Multinational Support Mission, all on behalf of Haiti. He has been to Haiti several times in the last year and is returning again in September. He has walked the streets of Port-au-Prince, talked with gang members, visited with their victims, and spent time with staff at NGOs and faith communities, the few that are still in the country, who continue to serve the people of Haiti, even at the risk of their own lives. Personally, over the past 2 years, I have been to numerous in-person Haiti briefings that Bill gave at the Office of the Justice Coalition of Religious in New York City. I can personally attest that Bill's heart is in Haiti and with the Haitian people, and that he is dedicated to doing everything he possibly can to help restore peace and stability to this suffering nation. Bill is here today to talk to us about the current status of the violence in Haiti, fueled by the flow of illegal guns pouring into the country, mostly from the United States, and what we can do to help mitigate this horrific situation. Bill, welcome.
Anyway, thank you so much for inviting me. It's great to be with you tonight, and I appreciate the effort that went into putting this all together from all the organizers. So first of all, I really am grateful for the time, and I'm honored to be with you. I think I want to spend a few minutes because I know time is of the essence. The situation in Haiti, and I know you know a lot of this already, so I won't go into great detail, but the violence is at an extremely high level. It's all from the gangs. The gangs are predominantly in Port-au-Prince and the surrounding region. They have been brutal and violent and unsparing, attacking the civilian peaceful population in the areas they control, and they will fight each other over territory and access to resources, mostly money, and then through kidnapping and imposing taxes and tolls and extortion on any source of income they can identify. They use this money then to purchase weapons and bullets, and that's the main theme of this gathering today. And they overwhelmingly procure these weapons and bullets. The original source is in the United States, in particular the state of Florida, overwhelmingly. There are some weapons and ammunition that come through Jamaica, every so often also from the Dominican Republic. At one point, I remember meeting with people who, sisters and priests who work in a gang-controlled area in Port-au-Prince. This was back in November. And they told me that they had experienced, the gangs were rationing bullets at that point. And I asked them, why? Why are they rationing bullets? And you might remember there was this incident, or it's still going on, a dispute between Haiti and the Dominican Republic over a canal that the Haitians had built on the Haitian side of this river in northern Haiti to allow some water to flow from that river to irrigate fields. And the Dominican president, mostly as a political maneuver to rev up his anti-Haitian base because there are elections coming, closed the border, declared everything stopped, no more traffic or commerce with Haiti. And the gangs in this part of Port-au-Prince were running out of bullets because we were coming in from the Dominican Republic and the border was closed. So that just shows you the dependency of the gangs on external flows of from the United States in particular, and those bullets weren't being manufactured in the Dominican Republic, they're manufactured in the US and it's somehow gotten there. So the trafficking is into Haiti overwhelmingly from the US, either directly or indirectly. I want to make 3 points, though, that I think are quite interesting. I sense a change in the US in particular, in US policy and in some parts of the US government, that they are taking this now much more seriously. They were in denial. They would never mention it. I would try to raise it in every meeting I could. And I just got basically shrugged off, no answers or denial. But a couple of things have happened in the last few weeks that I think are encouraging and encouraging for this group and for your efforts, which are really needed. One is a few weeks ago at the UN Security Council meeting here in New York, that was about the renewal of the UN's mandate in Haiti, BNU, Linda Thomas Greenfield, in her US ambassador to the Security Council, in her intervention, and it's the first time I can remember she or any US senior diplomat raised this issue in a Security Council meeting. She spent a few minutes talking about the steps the US government was starting to take to try to crack down on the export of arms and munitions to Haiti from Florida. They were good steps. They're not enough, and that's our job now, is to make sure they do even more. But I thought it was a very important shift from not mentioning it all, and especially in a forum like that, to recognizing, yes, there is this problem, and the US is starting to try to do something about it. It used to be you could always rely on China to raise the issue, because that would make the US look bad, and they have their own reasons to do it. But it was very good to see that the US at the very senior level in public was making this kind of statement. Second relevant incident or event was just last week. The FBI flew two or more investigators to Cape Haitian in northern Haiti to interview a customs official, two customs officials. One of them was in custody under suspicion of being involved in trafficking of weapons and munitions into Haiti. Of course, the customs in Haiti, there's some really good people, but there are some corrupt people. And this one officer, because there had been in early April 5th, I think it was, a seizure in Cape Haitian of a container from Florida that had guns and bullets in it. Good on them. That's great. The Haitian customs, with an infinitesimal percentage of the resources that the Department of Homeland Security has, actually caught a container with weapons. So that's great. But certainly there were insiders involved. And so the FBI not only went to interview, but they ended up extraditing. They took into custody the Haitian customs official who was in custody already in Haitian custody, flew him back to Florida, and with 26 weapons and bunches of bullets. So there's going to be an investigation in Florida. I hope this official will start, we have a plea bargaining system here. He could face some pretty heavy criminal time. He can lessen that time by sharing information about what's going on, who are the networks, how does this all work, which could be a huge step in leading to more effective law enforcement control on the arms exports from the United States. The third issue that's also, I think, giving me a little hope, but it means we have to keep pushing, is that journalists that I talk to tell me that when they would raise this before, the Department of Homeland Security, the State Department, or others would say, nah, there's nothing we can do, or you're exaggerating, or again, the typical denial or downplaying the seriousness of it. It's changed now. The journalists tell me the Department of Homeland Security, first of all, takes their phone calls, is engaging in serious discussions, and in fact talk about, I have to look this up, they talk about a very important arms raid a few years ago in Florida where they uncovered and confiscated a lot of weapons and ammunition that were on their way to Haiti. And they're very proud of that. That's great. They did it once. Let's have them do it again. And fourth and lastly, I was in Washington, D.C. 2 weeks ago now for meetings with senior State Department officials and National Security Council people working on Haiti. And again, in all my meetings, I always raise the issue of the guns. And I said, essentially, look, I have to raise this. I believe in it. It's something we really should be doing something about. Uh, I know this makes your life difficult, but I'm going to keep raising it. And actually, several of them said to me, no, no, please keep raising it. We would like you to keep raising this issue because we have our own internal debates inside the government. And there are people who want to do something, and there are people who don't want to do something. But by your raising it, you give us more arguments, more evidence, more strength, in fact, to try to make a push for a change in US policy. So I think that's also encouraging. So I think, again, nothing's guaranteed. There's a long way to go. But I sense a shift, some momentum building. I think a lot of it's coming because of the pressure being exerted by you and your organizations and your coalitions on your members of Congress, on your local representatives, whoever it is. They're starting to feel it. They're starting to hear it. And I keep saying, if there's one way to bring the gangs under control with the least amount of violence possible, it's deprive them of their weapons and ammunition. The gangs have no popular support. The population hates them. If the gangs lose this power over the territories and people they control, if they can't enforce it through weapons, they lose everything because there's no one else that will, they have no support. So I think we're onto something. I really congratulate and salute you. I look forward to hearing about your further plans. And I'm here. You know, people know how to reach me. I'm really serious about advocating this the best that I can, however I can. So, Kebe fem palage, as our friends in Haiti say. And I'll stop there, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. I'm Kim Lamberty, Executive Director of Quixote Center. And I want to just ask if Representative Sherfilis McCormick is on the call, or someone from her office. Could you let us know who's here ready to speak about congressional action?
Yeah, hi, Kim. It's Adam Stafford from the Congressman's office. How you doing?
Good, thank you, Adam. So I want to just say a couple words about Representative Sherfilis McCormick first. I got a call 5 minutes in saying she was at the last minute called away, and that Adam from her office will talk about the legislation for us, which is great. So welcome, Adam. Representative Sherfilis McCormick, as many of you know, is one of the co-chairs of the Haiti caucus, and is also part of the Congressional Black Caucus, both of which those coalitions have been extremely engaged in this issue, and successfully so, as Bill O'Neill has said. And she is the first Black woman to represent Florida's 20th Congressional District, was reelected to the U.S. House of Representatives in January of 2023 to serve her second term. So we appreciate you representing her, Adam. If you could give us information about legislative activity on the issue of arms trafficking to Haiti. Thank you so much.
Sure. Hi, everyone. It's nice to be with you. My name is Adam Safran. I'm the Congresswoman's Senior Legislative Assistant. I cover her role in the Foreign Affairs Committee. Just want to plug, add to Kim's bio, the Congresswoman is the only Haitian American member of Congress, so this issue is very near and dear to her heart. Obviously, arms trafficking to Haiti is one of the Congresswoman's top priorities. The last 6 months have particularly been very difficult for Haiti, marked by escalating political instability, widespread gang violence, and economic hardship. Over 580,000 people have now been internally displaced. The Congresswoman also represents a district in South Florida. So this is not only a personal issue for her, this is a local issue for her in Haiti as well as South Florida. She recently hosted, as of either a week or two ago, U.S. Ambassador to Haiti, Dennis Hankins, in the district to talk specifically about steps the U.S. government can take to stop the flow of firearms to Haiti and the Caribbean as a whole. First, we have to utilize the new authorities to curb the flow of arms that end up in the hands of gangs and criminals in Haiti. We must hold bad actors accountable for smuggling weapons. On that note, the Congresswoman introduced the Caribbean Arms Trafficking Causes Harm Act, also known as the CATCH Act. The purpose of this act is to address the issues of arms trafficking from the United States to the Caribbean, with a particular focus on Haiti. The flow of illegal weapons from the U.S. is a major contributor to the gang violence and instability that plague Haiti today. Additionally, we must look beyond legislation and raise awareness about the goals and importance of the Catch Act and other initiatives. And I know Bill, I've spent some time with him. He's been absolutely excellent on that. And as well as your platform can be used today to educate the public, as well as other members of Congress. And this is becoming a more well-known issue on Capitol Hill. So any advocacy you can do around that would be much appreciated. Together, we can work with you and Haiti to support its efforts to break the cycle of violence and instability. Thank you. And again, apologies for the Congresswoman's last minute getting pulled away.
Adam, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for sharing a little bit about the Catch Act and about Congresswoman's work and how important this issue is to her. It's really encouraging to hear about some of the legislative possibilities to address this, and I know that we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But let me open up the floor, first of all, for questions for Bill or general questions that you might have. You can put them in the chat if you want, and we'll monitor there, and then, or you can use the raise hand feature down at the bottom of the screen. But we did have one already come in. And so I wonder, Bill, you talked a little bit about Florida being the major place that the weapons are coming from. Do we know specifically ports or cities in general from Florida? And then I also want to ask just broadly, the US does a really good job or works really hard to control the things they import into this country. And so why is it so complicated in the first place to really try to control the things that are exported? So I'll put those to Bill first, and we can get a few more questions going in the chat or raise hand.
Thanks. You give great, both good questions. Thank you, and thanks, Adam, too. Good to see you. Yeah, it's mostly from Miami, the Miami River, and it's not like this is what makes a lot of people crazy, me crazy. It's not like boats leave in the middle of the night from some secret coves and nobody knows. Everybody knows there's a part of the Miami River where all these little freighters leave for Haiti. And I really highly commend to you, if you haven't seen it, a PBS special several months ago now that's really good on NewsHour, where they sent their reporter and they went around and these little warehouses and I sound like Joe Biden sometimes. I think, come on, man, this is the United States. We should be able to do this. These huge tankers in the Black Sea that are 100 meters long get inspected for, make sure there's not anything but grains of rice and anything else. We can do this. I think it's really a question of will, not technology, at least on the US side. I'm also told, and I'm not a Florida expert, so Adam, I defer to you. I'm also told Fort Lauderdale now, because there is some pressure. Again, I think there's signs things are moving. I'm told that the Miami River, because now there are more inspections, it appears, that the exporters are moving. And I'm told Fort Lauderdale, I have no idea, but I'll let the Florida people answer that. But I think it's not like it's a secret. And some have also allegedly come from New Orleans, but it's mostly Florida. And why? I mean, I don't understand why. I mean, the Haitian side of it, I'm told they don't have scanners at all. So these are big scanners, not like a little wand at the airport, but things that can scan a whole container. I understand why Haiti doesn't have that. They're probably expensive, hard to maintain, but we certainly have them. So I just don't buy any of the excuses I've gotten so far, explanations about why this is so hard and it hasn't been done.
Fair enough. Thank you. What other questions are out there that folks would like to ask? Like I said, you can use the chat or you can use the raise hand feature. It looks like Maxans, do you have a question? Denny? We'll wait and see if they can unmute. And in the meantime, I'll go to Anne Marie. Anne Marie, go ahead.
Actually, I didn't have my hand up, but I'm not sure how that got on there. Oh, somebody else is on mine. Okay, that's Margaret Morelli, because I had to send her the link. She didn't have it at the last minute. Go ahead, Margaret.
Thank you, Anna Maria. I got the link and I'm happy to be in. Mine is just a simple question. I'm looking at what the world has done to ensure that now we have Kenya mission and the rest of the countries trying to see how to rescue Haiti from the problems that it has had for a number of years. And I'm wondering why spend more money gathering this army or whatever police to go and keep peace when USA can stop it by stopping to supply the arms. For me, it seems to be the solution. Don't just supply the arms, and then the gangs will run out of what to use, and they will be there. And maybe just the government to be in, and they can manage with their own police. So that is my question. I don't know if I'm clear.
Great, thank you. You, Bill.
Do you want me to
You're
take
still
that
on
one?
mute. Yeah, please.
Sure. No,
And
it's a
just
great.
as a reminder, sorry, just as a reminder for our interpreters, for everyone to speak slowly
Oh,
as
sorry.
much as possible.
I forget that. Thank you. I get too excited about this, so I'll have to slow myself down. Okay. It's a great observation. I keep thinking back to the UN Security Council resolution of a year ago, almost a year ago now, and there are three prongs really to the response. One is the MSS, this force, the international force that's there to help the Haitian National Police because they are outgunned and outnumbered. Two, sanctions, because we know it's not only the gangs. They still have links. They have much more autonomy than they used to, but they have links still with politicians and business people who are behind it, alongside it, whatever. So put sanctions on them. And three is the arms embargo. And I always hoped, and not just me, all three, if they were actually coordinated and put in place in an effective and efficient manner, together would be mutually reinforcing and would lead to real improvements and fairly quickly. The MSS, the force, gets a lot of the attention because that's what's always happens. It's troops, it's guns, it's all this stuff. But you're right, Margaret. If you had a real effective arms embargo, if you had sanctions on the money and political people behind the gangs, that would also sap the strength of the gangs very quickly. And if the Haitian National Police could benefit from the reinforcements of the Kenyans and others, it doesn't have to be thousands of people. It seems pretty straightforward to me. And Haiti seems so doable when you think about Ukraine or Gaza or Sudan, which seem like, oh God, what, but Haiti is solvable if we just would do what's already been authorized to do. So yeah, I agree essentially. And I always push for all three. But the one that we have, of those three things that all of us right now can do the most about directly is the arms.
Great. Beatrice. Oh, you're on mute.
Good. Okay.
Yes, good.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I don't know where to begin, but let's begin at the end. What about this upcoming election? I know Haitian Americans are a huge voting bloc, and if we put our demand before the election, then I think we will be more successful, especially with President Joe Biden stepping aside and Vice President Harris coming to the forefront. Who do we need to speak to contact with, to get in touch with? I actually live in Tallahassee, but I am helping my goddaughter with her 4 little ones in Michigan. So I will be back in Tallahassee next week. I'm just trying to figure out, where do we go? How do we go from here?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we're going to talk in detail after this Q&A section. We're going to talk in detail about some of the legislation, especially some of the 3 bills that are really the most relevant to this, which will give you talking points, which will give you a summary of each of those bills, which is a great way you can go straight to your senators and representatives with that as a forefront issue in the election.
Thank you.
We will get to that momentarily. And if we don't cover fully that, then pop it in the chat and let's make sure that we do. It's a great question.
Thank you.
Judy.
Hi, everybody. I'm actually in Florida, and I had asked the question about the ports and the cities. So I can see the Port of Palm Beach from where I live right now. I'm in a high rise. And one of the biggest national security problems has always been our ports. And living near a port and coming from a maritime family, it amazes me how there's such a loophole in our ports. And since Florida is one of the #1 providers to these illegal arms getting over there, maybe Adam could talk a little bit, to the Congresswoman about the fact of they really need to check the ports more. I can just literally drive into the port right now if I want to. Anybody can. And there's a cruise ship that goes out of most ports. So the security is very much lacking in the ports. So, as soon as you said that they were coming from here, everyone always thinks Miami right off the bat. Then Fort Lauderdale is the next big port. And then for us, it would be Palm Beach, which isn't a very large port, but it's also the perfect opportunity because it's kind of off the radar, even though we have a former president that lives not far from there, of the security checking on it. And I mean, it's almost like you said about the man from Customs, where who would ever think that a customs agent would be the one that was supplying all of this? Most people that aren't aware of the problems we're discussing would think, no, that's against the law. That can't happen. That's the problem with the ports and the cities that we're talking about. The other thing that I wanted to say too is that makes me nervous about our port is, in particular, of Palm Beach, is we get the most Haitians that come ashore on the ocean side in northern Palm Beach County. And it's at least 2 a week. And Homeland Security is right across the intercoastal from where I go. So I would say not only look at all the ports, but I would look at the Port of Palm Beach a little bit more, because it is more of a direct path with the way the current is going. It's easier to get pushed up here than it is a little bit further down. They don't always cover it as much, but I think that for arms in general, but for everything in general, our ports are not secure. And the 3 ports that we're talking about, if I want to go on a Holland cruise ship, I go to Miami. If I want to go to Caribbean cruise ships, I go to Fort Lauderdale. If you just want to go to the Bahamas, we have 1 ship that leaves out of the Port of Palm Beach. So anybody can be on that property.
Great. Thank you, Judy. Thanks for sharing those experiences right on the ground. Stephen, I'm going to go to you.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, hi. Again, thanks so much for organizing this. Thanks to everyone in the group and the Congresswoman's office and Mr. O'Neill. My name is Steve Davis, and I'm an independent journalist, and a lot of my writing has been focused on investigating human trafficking crimes, which includes the crimes of child trafficking, forced recruitment, forced labor trafficking, and things of that nature. I write under the pen name Survive and Heal 15, and if people are interested, I included a link to my articles, which I keep on Substack under the pen name Survive and Heal 15. And the question I wanted to ask the group is, again, not to get off topic or anything, but obviously I know this focus is on trying to stop the flow of arms to Haiti, but I was just curious if these investigations into arms trafficking to Haiti, if anyone has found connections between the gangs and the criminal groups who are involved in trafficking arms, and if it's the same people in any cases who are trafficking arms are also involved in human trafficking crimes. Because I mean, you do often find that, criminal elements, some of the very same gangs and criminal elements that are involved in trafficking weapons, at least in some cases, are also involved in trafficking humans. And, one of the main reasons Haiti has been a big focus of my own investigations as an independent journalist is because, because of the poverty and the instability, and especially with all of the chaos with the gangs in the last few years, Haiti has become even more vulnerable to human trafficking crimes. And it's vulnerable to nefarious groups who may want to go into Haiti and take advantage of the chaos, so to speak, to get away with these kind of human trafficking crimes. So again, that just to summarize, I guess my question is, I was just looking to see if anyone had any input on human trafficking crimes in Haiti, and if there's a connection again between human trafficking and weapon trafficking in general.
Kim, I saw you raise your hand, wanting to take that one.
I can definitely answer that. If Bill also wants to answer it, that's fine. What I can say is that according to the Department of Homeland Security, who we did meet with on this issue, it is the same cartels. So it's the same cartels that are involved in gun trafficking, human trafficking, and drug trafficking. And it's not just Haiti. In other words, it's the same cartels that are also doing the same kind of trafficking across Latin America, which is why we as a coalition, just getting started with all of you and all of our co-sponsors, are also collaborating with another coalition, the Stop U.S. Weapons to Mexico coalition, for that exact reason. Same cartels, same issues, same weapons, same drugs, same human trafficking by and large.
And there were some questions. We'll come back to this. I want to take Joe's question first. But there are some questions in the chat about the arms manufacturers in particular, if we know who they are, and what kind of accountability is involved there. And some of the bills that we're working on do have that as an element. So more on that in just a moment. Let me take Joe's question
those too,
first.
yeah.
Yeah,
When
let
it
me go to
gets to
Joe
that.
and then we'll come to those. Go ahead, Joe, please.
First, I was glad to hear Bill say that some of the money that is being used by the gangs to buy the arms is being supplied by people who have some money, who would like to see things continue to go. I think you said that, Bill, in Haiti, because the information we have gotten is that there are wealthy Haitians who are contributing money to the gangs to keep the chaos going. That's not really the focus of my question, but if I misinterpreted that, tell me that. The focus of my question is, the arms are not just appearing in Florida, they're coming from somewhere in the United States. And the people who are getting them to Florida, I think, are committing crimes. Is there any work being done to arrest those people?
Yeah, I can take the second half of that question because you're right. It's not just Florida. There's about 5 states with really lax gun laws that are allowing for straw purchasing, hundreds and hundreds of weapons over the course of weeks and months, and that those are many of the weapons that are then traced, not just to Haiti, but to Mexico and to other parts of Latin America. So quite frankly, this is really where our gun laws come into play in the US, things like strengthening background checks, things like regulating gun sales, who actually has to conduct those background checks, which is something that was just recently changed by the US, that now people at gun shows, people selling out of the trunk of their car are all subject to the federal background check system. So one small victory in that realm that is contributing to it, but you're right that it's not just Florida, and you're right that it's not just at the border, right? It's elsewhere. And so again, it's about strengthening those laws regulating firearm sales and who's allowed to purchase a weapon. Bill, did you want to address anything in the first part of that question?
No, just briefly, just to clarify if I wasn't clear, that there are some business people, oligarchs, the Haitian term, that are still behind the gangs, funding the gangs, supporting the gangs, and very alarmed. I guess there was a question about elections. I'm very worried that Haiti obviously has to have elections, and it'd be great if they could be soon, but that's the season for gangs to get very violent, because they are then used by politicians to make sure the gang that they hire, their voters turn out and the other guys don't turn out, and all kinds of bad things. So yes, the role of politicians and oligarchs with gangs is still there. There are 15 people who have been identified by this. There's a panel of experts, the UN sanctions, there's a sanctions committee. I mentioned sanctions earlier. They have a panel of independent experts that has documented and looked into these ties. They have submitted 15 names to the Security Council for action. The problem there is geopolitics at the Security Council. So it gets stuck there, and that's too bad, and I hope it changes. But I hope that clarifies. There are some business people who are horrified by this, that want a new Haiti, that don't want to have any more of this, that would like to have calm and markets and businesses that don't have to worry about their employees getting killed or their offices getting blown up. But there are still some that are not of that mind.
Michelle, you're unmuted. So let me take your question, and then I don't have a name, but it's a 609 phone number. I think we'll take those two. I know there's a lot in the chat. I tried to work some of those in with others, but if I haven't addressed your question and you want to put it in the chat one more time, especially if it relates to executive actions, legislation, then we'll cover that next. So Michelle, and then our 609
Yes.
phone number.
Thank you. Just very quickly. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just very quickly. I think that the arms trafficking comes from other states as well, like South Carolina. It's coming through many states. Even the Haitians are organized with their gangs throughout the different states and different cities in the states. And I think the FBI had a big organized effort to bust a lot of people over the last few years, and they did. But I don't know the stats on that or anything. The other thing is, it occurred to me like a hammer to the head the other day that there is no way in hell they're going to get rid of this gang situation while elections are coming, because gangs are so integral to elections. So I don't know if there's really a will amongst people who want to run. I'm not saying everyone who runs for elections uses gangs, but I think they are a big part of the electoral process in Haiti. And if they're really going to be starting an electoral process, then I don't know. Maybe there's some other people thoughts on that. And then how to counter that.
Yeah, I do want to point out in the chat, one of our partners, Stop U.S. Arms to Mexico, that Kim mentioned. Isabella put a link in there about a huge study they just did on what they call the Iron River, right? These weapons being exported to Latin America. There's an incredible map on this site where you can actually see the states and the areas with some previously non-public information that they were able to get through, I think, a Freedom of Information Act request. It's really well done. You won't find it anywhere else, and it answers a lot of the questions that have come up about where else are they coming from and how do we find out who's selling them and how do we then take action at those states, at the state level, as well as the federal. So that's in the chat. Make sure you check that out. And then how about 609 phone number? Are you there? And then that's the last one. And we'll go to Kim for some legislative info and maybe a moment for questions on that. Are you there? No? Okay. I'm not sure. Kim, I'm going to turn it over to you. And then again, David, if you want to put your question in the chat, especially if it's related to legislation and actions, and hopefully, there they are. Okay, go ahead.
609 number. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Hi. My name is Marie Noel. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get on my phone where I can see all of you and you can see me. First and foremost, thank you for this, but I'll move very quickly. I have two questions. One is for Neil, and thank you for your presentation here. I don't know if someone asked a similar question, but is there anyone holding, besides the Haitian oligarchs or whoever they are, that are funding this in Haiti from the Haitian side? Was there anyone, maybe you'll talk about it later, holding the NOA or the American manufacturers who know that they are dealing with, they are sending guns to Haiti? Is there anything being done to hold them accountable? That's the first question. The second question I have is, I always find it a little dumbfounded. You mentioned earlier about the journalists, and thank you for that. But not too long ago, I was watching an exclusive show on CNN, and they have direct access to one of the key gang members in Haiti. How, in the name of God, can CNN get exclusive access and able to easily go into the home of Puy de l'Homme, I forgot how his name goes, and yet the U.S. government or even the people in Haiti cannot arrest this guy? So what's being done to collaborate with those news anchors when they're going into these gang territories to then, because those are the, even though they're not the financial head, but at least they're the one on the ground that gives orders that people follow. Vite Lom is his name. So I just want to know, where's the disconnect here? Thank you. Those are my two questions.
Thank you. We're going to cover the first one in just a second. There's several bills that address accountability, one of our priorities. And Bill, do you want to address the second at all? Collaborating with journalists and anything?
it's dumbfounding too. I mean, in a sense, the journalists, that's what they do. They get access. They have their own arrangements and deals, and I don't know what they are. The problem is if the Haitian National Police tried to go in there, given the rapport de force, they probably would all be killed trying to do so. So that's the reality right now.
Thank you. All right. Thank you all for great questions and so many more than I know we have time to get to, but I'm going to turn it over to Kim, who will address some of the legislation that is their priorities on this, and hopefully that will cover some more of the questions that have been asked. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you so much, Angie. Hi again, everyone. Kim Lamberty from the Quixote Center. And I want to talk about next steps. And the most important next step is our advocacy, both with members of Congress and the administration on all of the issues that folks have been raising on this call. So Teresa, first, if you wouldn't mind putting the summary of legislation, the link to it in the chat. So what we've created is a summary of relevant legislation. A couple of the questions have been on that. And there are 4 bills actually that we're advocating on. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. It's pretty clear in that link what they are and the names of them. But what we are planning is a lobby day on September 25th and 26th. We are going to invite each of you and all of your organizations to participate in this lobby day, and the legislation listed in that summary is what we will be advocating on. So in addition to advocating with legislation with our members of Congress, we will also be asking the administration to take some very specific administrative acts, including the issues that have been raised about our ports, right? And why it is that there's such poor accountability about what goes out of our ports, and also including the issue of holding arms producers and in particular gun stores essentially accountable for selling weapons to bad actors, because there is a rule that prevents ATF from making public the information about which arms dealers are the ones that are selling to cartels, and that makes it very difficult for us to hold them accountable. So those are the kinds of administrative actions that we're going to discuss as part of our lobby days. So the dates are September 25th and 26th. We are inviting you to sign up. And Teresa, if you wouldn't mind putting that link in the chat, the sign up link for anyone on this call who is interested in participating, there is a sign up sheet. So what we will do is gather on September 25th. We will, as organizers and co-sponsors, we will set up meetings based on who has signed up to participate. We're also inviting you to either come in person or call your member of Congress during that time, or also send letters to your members of Congress during that time if you can't come in person. So you have lots of options to participate. And the information Teresa just is putting into the chat, that information from someone who's asking. So all of it is there and you can sign up. In addition, so not everyone will be coming in person, but as many of you who can, we will also set up some virtual meetings for those of you who can't. In addition to that, we have an action out that can facilitate folks writing to their members of Congress and to the White House directly on all of the issues that we have just raised, including the specific pieces of legislation, as well as issues related to what the administration could be doing to prevent weapons from getting into the hands of cartels. Teresa will put the link to that action also in the chat. And the thing is, it makes it easier for you to send letters to your representatives and senators and to the White House, and members of Congress count up those letters. when they receive letters from their constituents, they count them and they can see how many people care about this issue. So it does actually matter. And this relates to Bill's point about how our advocacy is working. There are a number of us who have been engaged in this issue for a while, including Representative Sherfilis McCormick's office, the Haiti caucus, the Congressional Black Caucus, other senators' offices that have introduced legislation. We have been active, and it's helping. So what that means is that we have to keep up the pressure and continue our work. So it becomes really important that we follow up this with those specific steps. And I just invite you to distribute that information widely, both the information about the lobby day, which Teresa has put in the chat, and the information about the action to Congress and the administration on all of the issues that we have raised. And as I said, I'm repeating myself now, I don't want to go through each piece of legislation because it would take an entire webinar to do that. We have created a pretty clear summary for you, but we'd be glad to take any specific questions that you might have. I'll just stop and say a couple of things. We have 37 or 38 at this point co-sponsoring organizations. Teresa put them up in a slide at the very beginning. We will invite all of our co-sponsoring organizations to a follow-up meeting. That meeting is currently scheduled for August 8th at 3 p.m. Hopefully you can all come. Everyone will get all of the co-sponsoring organizations will get an email on that. The lobby day dates, I will repeat them, September 25th and 26th. And we do have space for gathering. We also have space in DC for overnight guests. And that was another thing that came in through the chat. So the Stewart Center in DC will be helping with overnight stays at a reduced rate. And we also have some funds for travel, probably not enough for everyone, but we invite you in that form to fill out whether you need that or not. So there's lots of activity for follow-up here with the lobby day. And then once we complete the lobby day, there will be additional follow-up. We plan to continue the pressure as our coalition grows and strengthens. So I'll stop here, and if there are any quick questions, we are almost out of time. I guess we're out of time, so I guess we can't take any questions, but each one of you will hear from us with a follow-up email that will have all of the information that I just gave you, so that you won't forget it. And we have also recorded this call, and so you will receive a link to the recording that you can distribute to anyone that is interested. And I will stop there.
Thank you, Kim. So just for those who like to process visually, the most important thing to remember from this flood of important information is to get the link to that sign-up form from the chat box. And I will put it in again as we close, but get that link now. And if you complete that sign-up form by the 30th of August, that will provide all of us organizers with your essential information about how you wish to participate going forward. And with that, we will be able to stay in communication with you to provide all the most essential details about the actions going forward. So please complete that form and then watch your mailboxes for messages from us about this ongoing action. And I will now turn it over to Dawn to close our session for today.
Thank you, Teresa. Before we end the meeting, I just want to piggyback on something that Kim said. The Sisters of Charity have given us a grant for Lobby Day in DC. That those funds will help cover the transportation costs by van from New York and New Jersey. It will also help us defray the costs for food and lodging, but we also need your contributions, whether it's $5, $10 or more. All of that money will be saved for that particular purpose and will help folks that couldn't go to Washington if it wasn't for that support. And Teresa has put that information in the link. There's just 4 easy steps on how you can donate, and we appreciate all of that support as well. In closing, I just want to thank our speakers, in particular, Adam, thank you from the Congresswoman Sherfullis McCormick's office, Bill O'Neill from the United Nations. Bill, thank you so much. Adam, we so much appreciate you being here. And a shout out to the Planning Committee, to the Justice Coalition Religious. Thank you, Teresa and Kim from the Quixote Center, Angela from Nuns Against Guns and Violence, the Sisters of Charity, and our friends at J-Corps. So we are thrilled that all of you were here. We thank our co-sponsors. We thank you, all the registrants. We thank everybody that could join us today. We know that together we can make a difference in stopping the illegal trafficking of guns to Haiti. We hope to see you in Washington and on Zoom or in person.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mariam
Bye.
and Anna, our interpreters.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for Haiti.
Thank you.
Thank
Job
you for
well
having
done.
me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Adam. Thanks
Thank
for all
you
the
very much.
organizers.
Thanks, everyone. It was most enlightening.
Thank you.
Very good.
Kim, thanks. Sorry I didn't see you earlier.
Hey, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.